Every single day, we interact with thousands of people, each possessing a completely unique human personality. For most of us, our personality is highly adaptive, allowing us to flex and change depending on our social environment. But for some individuals, their patterns of thinking, feeling, and relating to others become completely rigid and inflexible. When these unyielding behavioral traits cause massive, repeated friction with the real world, it is classified as a personality disorder. According to the official DSM-5 psychiatric manual, these deep-seated conditions are grouped into 3 distinct structural categories. These are known as Cluster A, Cluster B, and Cluster C, representing 10 unique psychological frameworks. Today, we are going past the Hollywood stereotypes to break down the clinical reality of every single personality disorder. We begin our psychological breakdown with Cluster A, clinically defined as the odd or eccentric group. Individuals in this category experience the social world as fundamentally unsafe, confusing, or entirely unappealing. The first condition in this eccentric bucket is paranoid personality disorder, often abbreviated as PPD. Imagine navigating your daily life with the continuous, unshakable belief that everyone around you is actively plotting against you. People with PPD carry a pervasive, completely unwarranted distrust of friends, family, and co-workers alike. They routinely misinterpret completely innocent comments or casual glances as hidden insults, threats, or deep deceptions. Because they are trapped in constant hypervigilance, they rarely confide in others out of fear the information will be weaponized. Moving to the second condition, we find schizoid personality disorder, which presents a completely different kind of isolation. While a paranoid person actively fears social interactions, an individual with a schizoid profile simply has zero desire for them. They are marked by a profound detachment from all relationships and a highly restricted range of emotional expression. These individuals do not suffer from loneliness. They genuinely prefer solitary activities and feel entirely self-sufficient. To the outside world, they can appear emotionally flat, distant, and completely indifferent to both heavy praise or harsh criticism. The final disorder in Cluster A is schizotypal personality disorder, which sits on the genetic spectrum of schizophrenia. This condition manifests as extreme discomfort with closeness, combined with eccentric behaviors and unconventional magical thinking. A schizotypal individual might firmly believe they possess a sixth sense, or can read the hidden thoughts of strangers. They often believe completely random, everyday occurrences contain specific, secret spiritual messages meant exclusively for them. Their speech can be highly unusual, vague, or overly elaborate, making standard communication incredibly difficult for peers. They desperately want human connection, but are perpetually plagued by intense social anxiety rooted in deep paranoid fears. Next, we transition into Cluster B, the most highly scrutinized and sensationalized category in clinical psychology. This dramatic, emotional group shares a core foundation of severe emotional volatility, impulsivity, and highly turbulent relationships. The first heavyweight in this category is antisocial personality disorder, frequently mislabeled by the public as sociopathy. Clinically, ASPD is defined by a pervasive, lifelong disregard for the basic rights, safety, and physical feelings of other people. Individuals with ASPD lack a traditional conscience, frequently breaking laws and engaging in deception for personal gain. They can be incredibly charming on the surface, using glibness and wit to manipulate complex social situations to their advantage. However, they quickly turn aggressive, irritable, or entirely reckless when their immediate desires are actively blocked or challenged. Crucially, a diagnosis requires distinct evidence of severe conduct disorder behavioral issues before the young age of 15. The second condition in this volatile cluster is borderline personality disorder, a state of profound emotional vulnerability. If a typical emotional life operates like a balanced thermostat, someone with BPD experiences life like an exposed live wire. It is characterized by severe instability in self-image, intense mood swings, and a destructive psychological habit called splitting. Splitting forces the individual to view people as entirely perfect or completely malicious, leaving absolutely no middle ground. The absolute driving engine behind borderline behavior is a terrifying, agonizing, and chronic fear of real or imagined abandonment. To prevent being left alone, they may engage in frantic, impulsive behaviors, ranging from explosive anger to severe self-harm. They live with a painful, chronic internal feeling of emptiness, and their moods can shift violently in a matter of hours. If you like this video so far, don't forget to like and comment to help spread mental health awareness. Next, we encounter histrionic personality disorder, where the primary internal goal is achieving constant, unceasing attention. For an individual with HPD, being out of the immediate spotlight is deeply uncomfortable, making them feel invisible. To counter this, they use theatrical dramatic expressions, hypervibrant enthusiasm, and often inappropriately provocative behavior. However, their emotional expressions can appear shallow to others, shifting rapidly from loud crying to ecstatic laughter. They are highly suggestible, easily influenced by current trends, and routinely mistake casual acquaintances for deeply intimate friendships. The final entry in Cluster B is Narcissistic Personality Disorder, a condition deeply misunderstood by modern social media. NPD is defined by a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, a desperate need for continuous admiration, and a total lack of empathy. People with NPD genuinely believe they are uniquely superior and entitled to special treatment above all ordinary rules. They spend vast amounts of time fantasizing about unlimited power, brilliance, absolute wealth, or perfect conceptual beauty. Because they view themselves as inherently special, they routinely exploit interpersonal relationships to achieve their own private goals. But clinically, this grandiosity is a defense mechanism protecting an incredibly fragile, easily wounded internal self-esteem. When a narcissistic individual is criticized, they don't experience a minor setback, they experience an existential threat. This often triggers what psychologists call narcissistic rage, manifesting as severe coldness or intense degradation of the source. Finally, we move into Cluster C, the anxious and fearful group of personality disorders. While these individuals do not display dramatic outbursts, their internal lives are dictated by a relentless effort to manage severe anxiety. The eighth disorder on our list is Avoidant Personality Disorder, a condition of profound social vulnerability. It is vital not to confuse AVPD with standard shyness, as avoidant individuals desperately long for deep intimacy and love. However, they are completely paralyzed by an agonizing, constant fear of rejection, personal humiliation, and perceived inadequacy. They view themselves as fundamentally socially inept, personally unappealing, and inherently inferior to every single person they meet. To protect themselves from potential criticism, they actively avoid jobs or social gatherings unless unconditional acceptance is completely guaranteed. Next is Dependent Personality Disorder, which copes with anxiety by leaning heavily on a protective caregiver. DPD is a pervasive, excessive need to be taken care of, leading to submissive, intensely clinging interpersonal behavior. Individuals with DPD struggle to make basic, everyday decisions without an enormous amount of constant advice and reassurance. They willingly surrender their autonomy, allowing spouses or parents to take full responsibility for major life choices. They will never express disagreement out of fear of losing support, and will frantically rush into new relationships if one ends. Our final entry is Obsessive Compulsive Personality Disorder, which is profoundly different from standard OCD. While OCD involves distressing intrusive thoughts and ritualistic hand-washing, OCPD is a total fixation on absolute structural control. People with OCPD are so consumed by rigid schedules, rules, lists, and microscopic details that the actual point of the activity is lost. Their perfectionism is so extreme that they often fail to finish projects, because their impossible internal standards can never be met. They struggle to delegate tasks because they firmly believe no one else can do it correctly, using control as a shield against chaos. When looking at these clinical clusters, it is easy to spot minor personality traits that resemble our own lives. But remember, a true personality disorder is inflexible, completely pervasive, and causes severe long-term impairment. Historically, these complex conditions were viewed as completely untreatable by early modern medicine. But modern clinical psychology has completely rewritten that narrative through advanced targeted psychosocial treatments. Today, specialized approaches like dialectical behavior therapy are helping individuals rewire these rigid mental frameworks. Understanding these distinct personality clusters isn't about slapping labels on the people around us. It is about mapping out the deep, incredibly complex, and fascinating hidden architecture of human behavior. What specific personality cluster breakdown surprised you the most today? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe to explore more incredible world and mind facts with us here at the World Facts channel.